Hi everyone, and welcome to the Coral Expeditions webinar on the Kimberley. My name is Gemma, and I'm part of the sales team at Coral Expeditions. Today's webinar is pre-recorded, and we will also send you a copy afterwards so you can share it with your friends and family. Thank you for taking the time today to join our Kimberley webinar. The focus of today is to take you on a journey with Coral Expeditions and give you an insight on how we explore the Kimberley's vast and rugged coastline, the Australian way, as we are the Kimberley experts. We will also have a delve into our Kimberley and Tiwi Islands itinerary and what makes that a really special expedition. So for those of you that are new to Coral Expeditions, we are Australia's pioneering cruise line. We started operating over 40 years ago, and we pride ourselves on being Australian owned and our warm Australian hospitality. All of our crew are Australian and passionate about and proud to share the adventure with you. They are always attentive and caring with a friendly and approachable style in keeping with our Australian values. So Coral Expeditions was one of the first cruise operators to employ interpretive guides on our cruises, a tradition that continues today. Each trip includes a mix of our full-time guest lecturers who join the expedition team and our special guest lecturers who are chosen for their specific local knowledge. Your cruise will be led by a dedicated expedition leader who will work closely with the captain to determine our daily program, ensuring that the best use is made of the prevailing weather and tidal conditions. Your expedition leader will join you on all of our shore excursions and activities and provide daily briefings and recaps, and as they are always on hand to answer any questions. The expedition team uses our ship's shallow drafts, quick immersement capabilities, and our special tender equipment such as our explorer vessels and zodiacs and our open deck spaces on board to take you up close and personal to the places that we visit. So we have been visiting the Kimberley region for over 35 consecutive years now. So we really curated the perfect Kimberley expedition. We offer 3 fantastic itineraries to the Kimberley with over 40 departures each season from March to September. So whether you want to go and experience the waterfall season, which is currently phenomenal due to all the amount of rain that they've been having up there, or the dry season where the temperatures are a bit cooler and the colours are vibrant, deep greens against the orange sandstone cliffs. Or we also cover the whale watching season. That's when the humpback whales migrate up to the Kimberley from Antarctica to birth their calves. Sensational. We cover it all. So our first cruise is the Kimberley cruise, which is 10 nights departing Darwin or Broome and covers the main icons of the Kimberley. A frequently asked question we get is, which way should I travel? And honestly, it does not matter. The Kimberley has a lot of scattered islands, and with the moving tides and our wraparound decks, you're always going to have a spectacular view no matter what direction you travel. So whether you start in Darwin or Broome, you're going to start and end with a highlight and have so many highlights in between. We also have another 10-night Kimberley voyage. However, this one is an art and culture themed itinerary of the Kimberleys and the Tiwi Islands. Now, there'll be opportunities to visit art centres where you can purchase traditional and contemporary art directly from the source. Our third itinerary of our Kimberley series is our Kimberley Icons, which is a 12-night and departs Darwin and Broome in September. This itinerary combines our classic 10-night Kimberley itinerary, as well as a visit to the spectacular Ashmore Reef and the Rolly Shoals Marine Park. Now, this will give you the opportunity to snorkel and dive at some of the world's best marine parks, which are home to over 200 species of coral and almost 700 species of fish, many of which are not found on any other coral reefs. So today we are lucky enough to be joined by our guest lecturer, Terry Dunn. Terry is here today and he will give you an introduction to himself, how long he's been with Coral Expeditions before, and some of the spectacular places that you're going to visit on these voyages. So I'll hand you over to Terry to introduce himself and begin speaking. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you, Gemma. Yes, I'm Terry Doan, and I've been working with Coral Expeditions since early this century. Generally do a couple of return trips, Darwin to Broome or Broome to Darwin each year. So that gives me four looks at the Kimberley every year over many years. So I know a lot about it and I love it. This is one of many highlights, King George Falls. It can be either the first site you have on your cruise starting from Darwin, or the last thing you visit going from Broome to Darwin. Either way, people will say, "Wow, can it get any better than this?" Even those who finishing up with that are quite amazed after their 10 days. Those who are starting with this say, can it really be any better than this? Well, I'll tell you, all the way down, there are amazing sights to see. So yeah, Van Start Bay is an early stop in our trip, and it's special for a couple of reasons. It's got some very recent history, and you'll see there's a wreck of an aircraft which we visit. It's about a 500-metre walk, easy walk across a sand dune and across a salt flat. This aircraft is it's called a C-53, which is a variation of the well-known DC-3, and it crashed in February 1942, and there's a very interesting story which the expedition crew will tell you about the circumstances of that crash. But it was right at the height of the evacuation of people from Java as the Japanese advanced down into Indonesia. The left panel there's a lady taking a photograph of a piece of art we see at a place called Jar Island on Van Start Bay. And that is a very pretty piece of work. Now, we visit a number of art sites with a variety of styles, and you'll learn about the different variety of styles, right from the earliest ones, which are potentially over 17,000 years of age, and belong to a style formerly called Bradshaw, and now referred to as Guion art, right up to the current art styles, which or the most recent traditional art style, which is called the Wandjina. So this Kimberley cruise, you get to see both of these, and they're both styles of art are presented in world-class galleries. It's quite unique on the planet. And if you choose to take the optional heli flight to Mitchell Falls, I can guarantee no matter what the season, you are going to be, you're going to love it. Early in the season, unsurprisingly, you'll get water flows like that or even more. Late in the season, not quite so much. Either way, even the flight there and back over such spectacular terrain is in itself exciting. If you land there and you can spend about an hour on the ground after a 20-minute flight each direction, it's a fabulous extra to your flight. Now, the ship will anchor in a bay, and the helicopters, generally 3 or 4, will come down and pick up guests from the beach, take them up to the Mitchell Falls, and then back again. So you're sort of there and back within a couple of hours. Whilst you're those who don't fly or part of the day they're not up there, the company puts on some fantastic scenic cruises down in our exploration boats, the Explorers. So either way, you can't really lose. It's a great day for those who fly. It's a great day for those who don't fly. Another highlight, as I'm going to keep on using that word because it is incredible. This is a nice shot from a drone, but when you're down in the Porosus Creek, which is it's named after Crocodilus porosus. It's a place we often see crocodiles lying on those mud banks or swimming in the water. But down at the level of those explorer vessels down there, you're confronted with that magical, diverse scene of mangroves with the orange cliffs in the background. The scenery itself is just amazing. The amount of wildlife we see there in terms of not only crocodiles, but also various types of birds, creatures that live on the mud, such as crabs and mud skippers. It makes that a terrific highlight for the guests. Here is King Cascade. I mean, I think that picture speaks for itself, doesn't it? It's a series of sandstone cascades. Most of the country we go through is sandstone, and there you can see the different layers which have been laid down over millions and millions of years, forming a stepwise series of terraces. It's spread. It's spring spread, so there's no matter what time of the year you visit King Cascade, there will be water coming over it. If you're there early in the season, soon after the wet season, you can have even more water than that. One of the highlights about our visit there is we'll take that Explorer boat you see in the bottom left-hand corner, nudge it up against the waterfall, and you will receive a Kimberley shower. And people just love it. Step out on the ramp out the front of the boat, hang on, get totally soaked, and get your photograph taken. It's a lot of fun. Careening Bay. And now this is our link to the European history of Australia. So here, this is called the mermaid tree, and you'll see there's an inscription on there. It says on the right trunk there, HMC, His Majesty's Cutter. Next row, Mermaid 1820. So we've just recently, that tree has just recently experienced the 200th anniversary of its inscription by the crew of the Mermaid, which is a little exploration vessel under the command of a gentleman called Philip Parker King. He was a young sea skipper, just come out of the Napoleonic Wars. At the age of 27, he was given a commission to explore and map the Kimberley coast, and in fact, all the way from east of Darwin way down to Northwest Cape, and to leave the mark of his presence. So there's a mark of his presence there. So when we're visiting that site, we talk about the circumstances of him visiting. It was in fact to repair a badly leaking vessel. We talk about the apparent damage to that tree and what's being done to preserve it in the short term. You can see the guests are on a platform over there, which is part of the conservation plan. And we learn about the amazing numbers of species new to science, which King's naturalist Cunningham was able to discover in the 3 weeks they had there while they were repairing their damaged vessel, the Mermaid. So it's another highlight of this wonderful place. And Montgomery Reef, even in the midst of all of those highlights, we have people coming off Montgomery Reef looking at that. It's quite different to anything else that I've shown you. Always there's someone comes on board the ship saying, wow, that's the best ever. And you can get a good idea of why there. You've got the Explorer, which is about 15 metres long in the foreground, going down this channel which goes up the middle of this vast reef. It's 400 square kilometres in area. It's so big that, and it ponds up so much water on its top, that through the entire tidal cycle, the water pours off in those cascades that you're seeing. Now, down in that boat, you're looking up over those brown banks, and it's a reef quite unlike any coral reef you've seen. It's actually an algal reef with coral growing down its slopes and very little coral up the top. So the main feature of this reef is the sheer physical, spectacular sight of water gushing off those reefs as you sit in the Explorer or get up closer in a Zodiac to look at stuff, including some of the creatures growing on the reef. But I guess the key point is the tidal range there is about 10 or 12 metres. So you can imagine whilst you're in the channel, you can actually ride the tide down and then ride it back up again with all this water pouring over the side. Fantastic. And this, again, is a wonderful highlight, both for simply looking at the spectacle of these same high tides. They force their way through narrow gaps, and in so doing, in the geology, get the sorts of scenes which you see there. They're actually in a horizontal plane. There's no waterfall falling into this place. It's simply the water gets trapped behind the narrow gaps and has to force itself through the narrow gaps, creating that spectacle you see there. The other exciting part about horizontal falls is the geology. And you'll see that in the background there, the perfectly vertical sandstone. That sandstone has been pushed by geological forces up into the vertical plane, having been laid down horizontally over 1.8 billion years ago, 1800 plus million years ago. It's a long, long time, isn't it? So that's in itself a real feature of the horizontal falls area. Whilst they're there, we also cruise up a creek called Talbot Creek, where the bent and twisted nature of the geology is absolutely mind-blowing. So horizontal falls is great. The entire Talbot Bay area is spectacular. And speaking of bent and twisted geology, how's about that? This gives you an idea. All of those beautiful curves you see there were once laid down on a shallow sea floor with up to a kilometre, sorry, up to 3 kilometres of extra sediments being washed down off ancient mountains, forcing the entire rock stratum down beneath the sea, and then having geological forces push it up again and twist it and form this marvellous scenery that you see there. Nares Point, again, one of the trip's many highlights. And if you're heading from Darwin down to Broome, this is an absolute highlight. It's where the wildlife takes centre stage, and wildlife being seabirds, turtles, and occasionally crocodiles out there. It's one of these top priority sites where we will go to if at all possible. Unfortunately, the tides and the weather sometimes prevent us from going there, but it's certainly a highlight if we do get to go there, which is probably 4 times out of 5, I reckon. Yeah, so what you see is a little dependent on seasons. The panel on the left, you've got a white-bellied sea eagle, a bee-eater, and our friend the crocodile down the bottom. You could likely to see those at any time of the year, whereas the whale breaching in the right-hand panel, that's if this is what your priority is, choose one of the tours later in the season, towards the end of the season, say August onwards, I would think. You pretty reliably get to see humpback whales relatively close. We frequently see some quite rare dolphins up there. There's a couple of particular ones which are relatively new to science, the snub fin dolphin and the humpback dolphin, as opposed to the humpback whale. Very, very interesting, quite rare, and it's special if you get to see those.
So now today we're excited to share some images with you and give you a glimpse of what you can expect on our Best of the Kimberley and Tiwi Islands voyage. Now, this itinerary is a real highlight. Not only do you get to experience the iconic Kimberley region, but you can also have the unique opportunity to visit the culturally rich Tiwi Islands. So along the way, as mentioned before, you also have the chance to explore the local art centres where you can purchase both traditional and contemporary artworks directly from the artists. Plus, our carefully selected guest lecturers will be on board to share their deep knowledge of the culture and traditions of the communities that we visit. With that, I'll hand you back over to Terry. And Terry, if you could please walk us through the next 3 slides and give us a sense of what our guests might experience on the Tiwi Islands. Thank you.
Will do. I've been to Tiwi Islands a number of times and always enjoy it. And the people there are very well organised to give us a great experience. And I guess the 2 panels, the top left and bottom right, are a beautifully curated museum. That museum gives a lot of the history of the Tiwi Islanders' traditional means of living from the land, etc., and their customs of burial and life in general. But there's also a very strong element of the presence of Christian missionaries and a long-term presence of the Catholic religion on the islands, Bathurst Island and adjacent Melville Island, the two Tiwi Islands. So they're visited. They're about a couple of hours out of Darwin, so they're close to the Darwin end of your cruise. So the museum is a highlight, and you'll be taken through that by a local guide. The other two panels, bottom left, you'll see someone displaying some art. The art is a fantastic quality there, and you'll very likely speak to the artist who painted it, who will interpret it for you. The top right scene, you've got a smoking ceremony taking place. You can see the guests in the background viewing this, but also the guests participate by walking through the smoke and getting the blessings of the local community and the benefits of being smoked and safety for your time there and your onward voyage. Yes, I mentioned the burial rituals. You can see in the top left-hand corner these burial poles called okumanu, and they're very beautiful sculptural works to commemorate the lives of the people. And again, you'll have a local person come through and explain what's going on. One of the highlights for me on my most recent trip there was being taken to the burial site of some of the elder Rioli family. And if you're into AFL football, Tiwi Islands are a great source of AFL footballers, and it's the Rioli Senior who's buried there, and there's a little AFL display associated with the Pokumanu poles. Bottom left, you'll see some wonderful art, big pieces, small pieces. The big pieces are an incredibly high quality, and to be able to be present at the studio where these are painted is a fantastic privilege, and to talk to the artists and to sometimes see them at work. Top right, screen printing going on. So there's you can get a sense in the background, the long frame tables for reproduction of beautiful tapestry materials using their own original art. That's a Catholic church down the bottom, created between the two wars, I believe. It's a most wonderful piece of restoration. In fact, there was a period of time where we weren't allowed in because it was deteriorating. Now, as you can see, it's accessible. It's got a blend of Catholic and traditional Tiwi art and architecture on the inside to make it well worth a visit. Some more of the cultural side of this trip. You've got guests. We'll sit back and we will have the local people dance for us. But that's, as you can see on the bottom right, but up top right, we're joining in with the ladies and the men who do that dancing. It's quite memorable. And I think the other two panels speak for themselves. What a beautiful piece of art that woman is with on the bottom left, and the involvement of our guests in using natural fibres to create mats, etc. So and just look at the beautiful colours and the patterns in that material that they're creating.
Awesome. Thank you, Terry. Yeah, the Tiwi Islands look fantastic. Such a immersive art and cultural voyage, that one. And just letting you guys know that we do have availability on our trip of the Best of the Kimberley and the Tiwi Islands on the 28th of July this year. So jump onto our website and have a look at that trip if you are interested. And I just want to say thank you so much, Terry, for joining us today and giving your insights into how we explore the Kimberleys. If you guys are lucky enough to go on one of our trips and be joined by Terry, I'm sure he'll have a lot of interesting facts to share with you. He's super knowledgeable, and he's only just touched the surface there on the webinar today. So thank you very much, Terry, and we really appreciate your time for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Gemma, and just encourage the viewers to, if you possibly can, come along. You won't be disappointed.
Absolutely. So a bit more about Coral Expeditions and what it's like to travel with us. So all of the meals are included, which are prepared on board by our chef using local ingredients where possible. Drinks are included with meals, and tea and coffee and snacks are available 24/7. All of our onshore excursions are included, with the only exception, the helicopter flight to the Mitchell Falls there that you saw. However, as mentioned, this can be purchased on board. Also, our team will capture photos for you throughout the journey, and everyone will get a journey log with the photos at the end of the expedition. So all guests can just really enjoy the experience and not have to worry about pulling your cameras out all the time. Standard Wi-Fi is included on board, so you'll be able to send messages and do Facebook posts and social media, keep in touch with your family and friends and let them know what a fantastic time that you are having. So our ships are purpose-built for remote tropical regions of Australia and beyond. They feature long-range ocean-going stability, shallow drafts, and high maneuverability. We can navigate those really inaccessible reef systems, rivers and shores, which are not often visited, and where the larger ships cannot go. We have 3 ships in our fleet. And the first one here is the Coral Adventurer. It launched in April 2019. And it's, again, all ships purpose-built for exploring that really remote wilderness and shores of Australia and beyond. There's 60 staterooms on the Coral Adventurer, and she holds a maximum of 120 passengers. Here you can see what the ship looks like. The top photo there is the restaurant dining area, and then we have the bridge deck lounge and library. Our ships are full of Indigenous arts and art galleries, and there you can see the bridge deck bar. These are photos of what the cabins look like. There's a range of different accommodation on these ships. So the Coral Adventurer has bridge deck suites. She also has bridge deck balcony staterooms. Coral Adventurer has promenade deck staterooms and also coral deck staterooms. So on all 3 of our ships, we only have external facing cabins, so we don't have any internal cabins at all. So everyone gets a view and no one misses out along the way. The second ship here is the Coral Geographer, launched in March 2021. So therefore she's the newest to our fleet. Again, purpose designed to access that remote wilderness and shores around the world that are not often accessible to larger vessels. She's the Coral, the sister ship to Coral Adventurer, and she's able to navigate those small, shallow bays. Again, she has 60 staterooms and carries a maximum of 120 passengers. Here are some photos of what looks like aboard the ship. So there you can see the bridge deck, the bridge deck lounge and library. It also has a gym on board, and there is the vista deck on the top floor there and the explorer bar. Similar accommodation to the Coral Adventurer. She has bridge deck suites, which include a full lounge, bridge deck balcony staterooms, prom deck staterooms, and coral deck staterooms there. And then our smallest ship in the fleet is the Coral Discoverer. She has a maximum, 36 staterooms and a maximum of 72 passengers. She's the smallest ship in our fleet and is often considered more like a yacht-like vessel and is designed to take you on, again, those to remote destinations which the larger ships can't access. She's loved by a lot of our past passengers for that really small, intimate ship atmosphere. Here you can see the photos of the bridge deck lounge, the sun deck, the dining space, and the bridge deck, where the master sits. The rooms on the Coral Discoverer, so we've got explorer deck balconies, promenade deck staterooms, and main deck stateroom A and B. Again, all are external facing cabins. Now, something that really sets us apart from our competition is our explorer tenders. Now, we like to call these the safari jeeps of the sea. If you take one thing away from this webinar today, let it be these, because they are unique to Coral Expeditions. We're the only cruise operator that has these. But what makes them a really standout feature is their accessibility and their comfort. If you look at the main photo here, our explorer tenders are operated on the back of the ship using a hydraulic lift. The lift brings the explorer up out of the water and level to the ship, which allows our guests to walk straight onto it from the dining room. So you're not, it's not balancing, it's not floating on water, so you're not trying to balance yourself while you get onto this vessel. This is always highlighted in feedback from guests that they love this feature. So on board our Explorer tenders, they have a well-equipped audio system for clear commentary. There is also a toilet on board for remote convenience. It has comfortable seats, panoramic views, open air, clears that can be brought down for bad weather, and it has that roof to protect you from that hot Kimberley sun. And it can fit the whole ship's capacity, so no one is left behind and everyone gets the same experience. So on our two biggest ships, we carry 2 of these Explorer tenders, and on the Coral Discoverer, we'll carry 1. We also have inflatable Zodiacs, which are another exciting and flexible option for shore excursions and navigating those narrow inlets and waterways and getting that extra bit closer to nature, as you can see here shown in this spectacular picture on the Montgomery Reef. So from humble beginnings on the Great Barrier Reef over 40 years ago, we have taken our unique style of Australian expedition cruising into the far-flung lands of the Kimberley, Tasmania, and small islands of Japan, Papua New Guinea, and beyond. Wherever we go, we have one purpose, and that's taking small groups of like-minded explorers to remote parts of the world with expert guidance and warm Australian hospitality. So that brings us to the conclusion of the webinar today. Thank you all for taking the time to listen. And if you are considering booking or if you have any questions, please reach out to our reservations team. The details are on the screen here, or contact your preferred travel agent. If you have booked already, you're about to have a trip of a lifetime. There really is nothing as spectacular as the Kimberley. It's a once-in-a-lifetime trip. And there's no better way than exploring it with Coral Expeditions, who have been going to the Kimberley for over 35 years. We'll provide you with the ultimate Kimberley experience the Australian way. Now, if you joined late in the webinar today, or if you'd like to watch this webinar again, we will send it to you, and you can share it with your friends and family. It may take about 24 hours to get to your inbox, but yeah, it will be there shortly. So thank you very much for taking the time out of your day, and we look forward to welcoming you on board Coral Expeditions soon. Thank you.